Nah, it's okay. Whew. What up, y'all? Shorty C94 back with episode 36 of Shorty's Sneaker Conversations. See if we can get our guests. What's up, Sneakerhead Poppy? Larry V, Rogers Boy, Sneak Freak Sid, just sent you the invitation. What's up, Kicks for Fresh? How's everybody doing today? Let's see here.
What's up? What's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much. How are you?
I'm okay. Just here. It's a long day at work, but glad to be here.
I feel you. I'm like, yeah, let me adjust this camera because you already know. You already know. As soon as you get on live with two people, the whole thing changes.
Oh yeah. You already know.
Before
we get with the sneakers, I did want to ask, what was the most positive thing you were able to take away from 2020?
Oh, I would say I don't know, for me and my husband, it was a little bit different, I think, from most people, where we actually got to see our family more in 2020 than we had like any other year, since like leaving back home. So most positive thing was probably definitely that of just like,
Oh, I think I might have lost her. Sid, you there? Okay.
right.
You there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, you still frozen on my screen.
Really?
Yeah.
You can hear me, but you can't see me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Weird. Everybody else, can y'all see both of us? I was talking and I was like, wait, I think I'm out the room again.
Yeah, because right now it's you, but you're just looking up like you're in the middle of your conversation, you know what I mean, or your sentence or whatnot. So
that's rude. If everybody say they can see both of us, then I'm like,
oh, I guess it's just me there. It's cool. I can hear you. So
I can pop out and pop back in if you want me to.
Nah, it's cool. We'll just I guess we'll just do it like this. All right. Well, usually I start by going into sneaker origins. So what was the your earliest sneaker moment, or that first moment, sneaker related?
I think my first sneaker moment that I can like think back to, like, dang, I always think about that pair of shoes, was a pair of K-Swiss. And I was probably in elementary school. In our school system back in Georgia, all the schools I went to, we always had to wear uniform. So your kicks were like, the way that you could step out. But my parents were not the type to be buying Jordans. It was me, my sister, and my brother. Was three of us. So yeah, we weren't like getting Jordans or anything like that. And it got to a point where me and my sister were actually the same size. So we would actually share shoes or whatever. And it was this pair of K-Swiss, all white. They weren't like the kind of like the OG pair with the stripes down the side. It was like a completely different silhouette than they had come out with before. And I think that was like the first time where I felt like, oh, like I got something on that I really like, and it probably was something that I picked out. And maybe the first time that my parents like let me pick out a pair. But as I got older, got into sports and everything, I started playing basketball in middle school. And it was one year on the girls team where we all decided that we wanted matching shoes. Like, this middle school, it's not high school ball or anything like that, where the team is, picking out shoes together. But we were, a bunch of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And we was like, we want to have matching shoes. And we all decided to get a pair of 14s that were black and pink. Our school colors, our school colors were maroon, green, and like a navy blue, and we wanted some black and pink 14s.
Yeah,
Like, right.
those are crazy cool colors. I ain't never heard of that. Wow.
Right, yeah. It was a small charter school in Savannah, Georgia. And so yeah, so we went for these black and pink 14s. I'm pretty sure that was the first pair, unless it was like a kid or something, but I'm pretty sure that was the first pair of Jordans where my parents was like, okay, Sid really wants these, like, you know what, she's doing good in school, like let's cop them for her. And that after that, like, it was all over. So now, like, 14s to this day is still my favorite silhouette. I've moved different states so many times that I haven't kept a lot of my pairs over the years, but I'm kind of like now back into that game. Like, if it's a pair of 14s that I really like I'm gonna cop them no matter what. But yeah, that had to be middle school basketball, had to be what really put me on.
Okay.
What about you?
My earliest sneaker moment was probably fourth grade. It was 91. My dad came home with the black infrared sixes. He had the whole kit. He had the bag, he had the shoes, the short set, and the hat. And it was like they were just glowing. Like, I had, sneakers before, and that was when I was really getting into basketball. So that Jordan 6 black infrared was like the first shoe I ever wanted. He didn't have them for me, but it was just because, my foot, he wanted to, get it measured, make sure get the right size. So I got mine the next day. But yeah, that was where it started for me. And that was the first time I really got notoriety for my shoe. So that changed thing, you know what I mean? I was like, I kind of like this. So it's a few shoes like that in my sneaker journey that really means something to me. And whenever they come out, I have to get them. So
yeah, I feel you. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, would you say that 14 is the shoe that got you into shoes?
I think so. I think it's definitely the one that made me, and like you said, like, I know for some people, sometimes we get a kick, like, as a kid, and it's like, 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 maybe I was bullied or maybe something like that in school, where it's just like, this is what kind of empowered me, or it made me feel like I had something to stand on. But for me, I think what that particular pair did was probably like my first taste of community in the sneaker game, because we all, like, as these 7 and 8, 8th grade year old girls, wanted to band together and get this matching shoe. And I think that season we sucked. Like, I think we were like trash, but we all had that same shoe, and it felt like we were some type of unit. So if anything, I think that probably what it was, is like my first taste of community, my first taste of like sisterhood. And I played basketball throughout high school. And yeah, so I think it's a little bit different than I think some stories, but for me, I think that's what got me into it. Of course, got through high school. Like, my parents didn't let us work while in school. So I never had money to just go keep picking up, pairs or whatever. And when I got to college and started making my own money, that's kind of when I got back into the game. And then I wound up having I was also in the marching band in high school, and I wound up having a foot surgery later on that I was like restricted to only sneakers. And so after that, it was definitely a wrap. Like, I couldn't wear flats or sandals or heels. Like, I could only really wear sneakers. And to this day, like, that's all that really feels comfortable to me. So it's kind of just by chance that I'm, more of a sneaker girl than heels, because stuff like that just don't feel comfortable to me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, back, when you got those four during that era, when your parents would, get you sneakers, where was your favorite place to, get the shoes from back in the day?
We definitely used to hit up that Foot Locker 2 for $79.99 or whatever that deal used to be. Used to get, a couple of pairs before school. Then you got the couple of pairs around Christmas. Like I said, by high school, my sister's 3 years older than me, but by high school, she was a senior, I was a freshman. We wore the same size. So then it got even worse, because I'm definitely more of like like, this is mine and I only want to wear it type person, especially as a kid. And but by that time we were the same size. So my parents was like, oh, I can get I can get this 2 for $89, and both of y'all about to wear them. And like I said, we went to a school where we had to wear uniforms. So, you know, me and her at the same school. So I remember we had this pair of 90s, and they were like predominantly white in the upper. I think the check was I think it was red, and it had like a gold kind of like pull tab and back, and had like a little rose on it. Like, we thought we was doing something, but when it got to that point where me and her had to share shoes, I was like, oh no, I got to get up out of this. Like, I got to figure out a way, because I just want my shoes. Like, she wear them Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I have them Tuesday, Thursday. But they definitely used to hit up like a Foot Locker. By the time I got in high school, I had friends that worked at Finish Line, so I would always go to Finish Line. And then, I mean, I'm from Savannah, Georgia. Back then, like 90s, early 2000s, we didn't have, I would say, a lot of local sneaker shops. It's not, you know, it's not Atlanta, so it's no, you know, flagship type city for, you know, any kind of big retailers or sneaker brands. So we pretty much had the chains to work with: Finish Line, Foot Locker. We didn't even have outlets back then. Now they have a couple of outlets that are close, like in Hilton Head. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Now let's bring it to current day. And people always, you know, kind of like, man, what? But, you know, I always ask, where's your current, you know, favorite place to get sneakers from now?
Yeah. So, I don't know. We don't even have to mention like sneakers, StockX, because it's not a favorite. It's just we got to be into it, right? But if I don't know, I would put it this way: if they have more, I guess, of my size, and so I'm a 6.5 men's, 8 women's. And a lot of the sneaker stores in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, when it comes to drops, they usually only get the men's sizes. If they get the women's, then they do, you know, some raffle, and it's just like just as hard as trying to hit on the sneakers app. But it's 2 local stores near us. One is called Prize Kicks. The other one is called Center. If you're a Cowboys fan, then you see Center on Dak and Zeke all the time. But yeah, those are probably 2 local stores that we frequent the most, or either at least like try for their raffles. If they have an event, like not too long ago, Center had a Wu-Tang event, and they had people come out. You could get, you know, dope merch and everything like that. So yeah, like I'll support them mostly on like the things that they do for the community, but not necessarily like if it's, you know, a shoe that I want to cop, like I try to get, because it's almost as impossible as sneakers.
Okay. No, that's fair. I think every area, you know, it's kind of the same thing now. That's why people crazy and be like, man, I don't have no favorite places. Wherever I can get them. You know
wherever we can get it. Yeah. And I will say too, like my husband and I, we like to travel a lot. So that's always a part of the itinerary. So like not too long ago, we went to San Francisco, and we had like Undefeated, Dark Side Initiative, Atlas. Like we just, you know, had at least 6 or 7 stores, and one day was just dedicated to like going to a lot of the local shops. In San Fran, walked into Undefeated. I picked up a pair of New Balances that weren't on the list or any sort, but it was just like, oh, I like these. And he actually got the Pollins. The Pollins had come out the day before, either that morning. And we just asked the, you know, cashier was like, hey, y'all got anything in the back? And they was like, yeah, we actually got some Pollins. And he was like 10.5, and they had some. So I think sometimes like we almost get more lucky when we're traveling than we do just, you know, at home or trying to hit on sneakers. So that's also wild.
Yeah, that's something that my wife and I have also experienced.
I love it. Yeah.
We travel, we try to, you know, hit up the outlets and hit up the spots. And, you know, we're from Cleveland, Ohio, but, you know, we've been in North Carolina for a year now. And it's different with the shoes, because it's like I don't have any connections. I know a few people out here now. You know what I mean? It's not like if I was in Cleveland, I know with certain shoes that I would have that I don't. But, you know, down here, we don't really have any outlets at home. I think it's maybe 3 outlet malls in all of Ohio. You know, one in Columbus.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
So, down here in North Carolina, the outlets are more like the sneaker buying culture. So, it's different. It's been easier in some ways to cop, harder in others, you know, being down here.
Yeah. My sister lives in Raleigh. So I was just in North Carolina last weekend at this sneaker expo called Kickback Expo. It was in Durham. And a lot of times here we'll go to any of the local expos. We'll of course go like when SneakerCon comes and stuff in Dallas, but this was my first time, except for like maybe LA, but this was my first time at like an East Coast expo. And when I tell you I was shocked at like how much no heat there was. Like, it was a cool expo. The vibe was dope, but it was like, it was nothing. Like, you had, you know, a Laylee Mays 14s just drop. You had Sakai just drop. It was a lot of different things. And I feel like here in Dallas, you could have an expo within 3 days of, you know, big drops like that. And almost everybody will have one on their table. But there it was, I wouldn't even say a lot of ones. Like, it was just kind of like a random assortment of drops from like earlier this year. That is something I feel like the more that we kind of step out into the sneaker space in other cities, we like get a pulse of like, you know, kind of like what the community is like there. So that was very interesting, because the things that were on the vendors tables there, like, you would not find that in Dallas. Like, Dallas is normally like, you know, everything that has dropped within the last 2 months. And there it was just like the gamut of the full 2021. So that was pretty interesting. But I did, and because of that, I did get to pick up, like, reach back and pick up the satin snakeskin red ones, the women's. That's a pair that's been on the list, but I was just like, I'll get them when I get them. And they had them. So I was just like, oh, well, I'll go for them, you know?
Yeah. I'm kind of ashamed that, you know, Durham is 20-25 minutes from here. I didn't even know that show happened.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, I don't really, like I said, I know a few people out here, but not a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, I still have the pulse of Cleveland, but again, it's still 500 miles away. So, you know, I need to network with more people around here. But I know whenever we have shows there, it will kind of be the same, where it will be stuff from the last 6 months to a year. And when I go to a sneaker show, I'm looking for, I'll be wanting to see old stuff and stuff.
Older. Yeah, either older or very recent, like not, yeah.
Yeah, you know, don't show me some, I don't want to go see a table full of biohacks. Like, it's a nice shoe, but, you know, I'm talking old shit, you know what I mean? So. You know.
Yeah, I feel you on that for sure. And it's kind of the same for us too. We've been in Dallas since 2014, but we still have like more connections and more people that we know that are like within the community back home. Like, so we'll still, you know, lean on people. Like, a lot of times I have a few pairs in here that I've gotten from Wish ATL, just because a lot of my family lives in Atlanta, and they can, you know, just walk in there, and when they do the Georgia residence only type drops. And then back home in Savannah, a lot of now local sneaker shops exist. And so it's people that either we went to high school with or a friend of a friend. So we definitely have a lot more, I guess, of a foundation back home too. So I totally feel that a lot.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, with, you know, and I've had the pleasure of, you know, a lot of the people, you know, in the comments, shout out everybody that's joined.
Yes, they are.
There's a lot of good people in there, a lot of good people, you know, that have been on this show. Hello to everybody. You know, one question I don't always remember to ask is, you know, with you being a lady in the shoe game, do you feel like it's any harder or any better being a lady in the shoe game? Like, you know, do you have some advantages because of your size, or you feel like people hate because you only wear grade school and it's easier to get? Like, do you ever you know, any of that?
Yeah, I would say, I don't know. I feel like I got a couple of different answers to this question. One is yes, especially being married to a sneakerhead as well. You know, anytime I would hit on something that he didn't hit on and he wanted, or vice versa, like, oh, that's because you wear that 6.5, you know, or whatever. But I think over the last few years, it's definitely changed a lot. Like, I mean, I'm not usually one to speak on the premise of like, oh, because we're women, like, it's harder for us to cop a certain thing. And really because at this point, the consumers are everybody. Like, I mean, I'll walk into, you know, last weekend we were just in Houston, and you'll go into a store, you know, for a raffle, or you'll go to an expo like the one in North Carolina, and you'll just see people that it's like, okay, 3 years ago, you had no idea, you know, what this shoe even was. So I think at this point, it's just like everybody is a consumer of sneakers. So it's just harder for anybody. Like, I don't care what gender you are. Now, the space that I do like to speak on, I would say in terms of women in the sneaker community, is one that we always hear, right? Representation. When you talk about the different, you know, platforms that are out there, the different, like, as many brands as it is, as many stores as it is, it's just odd sometimes where you see the same either women or the same type of woman represented in collateral and marketing. Marketing is my career, what I've done since college. So to me, I think that's the biggest, I think, space that I like to play in, but also speak on, not necessarily consumerism and who can get what and how often, because I agree, it does depend on, I see Jay said it does depend on the release. It depends on the shoe. But for me, it's more so about being on the back end of marketing for so many years. How is it that, you know, say if there's 18 top retailers or 18 top shoe brands, that I see the same women or the same type of woman on all of those platforms. And also, you know, I'll take the sneakers app, for example. And this is something I want to talk about eventually on my business platform. But if you take that app, of course, you have major cities, right? Like LA, Miami, New York, Chicago, if you want to give it that. When you have like your Dallases and your Charlottes, those are considered more like secondary cities. But just within the sneakers app alone, tell me how often you open up the drop off, you open up the icons, any of those particular discovery, you know, elements, and it's not featuring LA or it's not featuring New York. Meanwhile, I can literally open up Instagram for 5 minutes and talk to women from DC, from Canada, from you know, the Inland Empire side of California, from just, you know, these smaller cities, and, you know, that know the game, that know the space. And there, it's at the point to where it's like, it's no excuse. Like in the past, you know, brands had, you know, maybe I would give them very limited resources on how you found what today we call influencers. You know, back then you would just call them ambassadors or somebody to kind of show off the brand. But very little resources. You had radio, you had TV, you had newspaper. Every now and then you'll put an ad out, you know, and see what came back. But with social media, there's no excuse. You know, there's no excuse for, you know, I can't find a particular talent or I can't find a particular person to speak on this. So I would say for me as a woman, that's probably the most frustrating part, is that, you know, I can be just like the platform that you started, you know, with Shorty's Conversations. How many women have you talked to and men have we talked to? And it's like, these are people down in the community. Meanwhile, we have to watch, you know, stories of icons of LA to potentially get early access on the shoe. Like, make that make sense for me. It's so many other cities in this country. So you can see I'm riled up right now, but that's the part that gets me. Like, you should never have to reuse talent.
Well, again, I can hear you. My screen is still frozen, so everybody else can see.
Oh my gosh. I want to pop out and pop back in.
I screenshotted it. I just don't want to lose the viewers. So
yes, I feel you. Know we're good. We good. If they in here, we good.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a screenshot, because again, it's been frozen since that.
I'm dead.
But, you know,
I'm gonna take a screenshot too. Y'all take a screenshot in the comments so Shorty can get his good photo for the cover.
Hey, it's good. But yeah, I felt that way too. I felt that you know, it's really always about New York and LA, Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like DC gets it sometimes, but they don't always.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that being from Cleveland, nah. Like, LeBron played for the Cavs twice. They had LeBron and Kyrie 3 seasons. 2 of your top. We never even got like a Cleveland only thing. You know what I'm saying? It was always that. So I get it. I just think it's places that Nike loves and places they don't. So
yeah, it's untapped. And I would say within this year, I've had a couple of opportunities, and shouts out to K Fresh in the comments, a couple of opportunities to actually speak to Nike corporate on a few focus groups and different things like that. And that's definitely a point I raise all the time. Like, and again, I know, you know, there's a huge community of women on this platform that I love and support. And you would think we've known each other and met each other. But for me, and I think it's just a marketing professional in me, I want to see it for all of us. You know what I mean? Like, Women, yes. Men, yes, too. Like, because there's just so many, what I guess, a bigger brand would call podunk cities or whatever. And granted, from a marketing perspective, I understand why they attack those cities and they go for those cities because that's where they have a larger reach, right? Larger platform. Duh. But at this point, when this particular space and this type of product has reached like consumerism past ends, you're talking about old grannies up in Armand trying to cop shoes for, their grandson who just saw them on TikTok. Like, when it's reached that type of masses, spread out. Like, come to some of these other cities, show a lot of other, different personalities and people, because at the end of the day, if you do want to, I know I got into this conversation with a friend not too long ago about the future of the sneaker space, right? And anytime in any industry or any vertical where you talk about the future, you're talking about the younger generation. You're talking about the future consumer. And for, these kids, in, whatever cities we want to mention out from, Savannah, Georgia, Pooler, Georgia, Augusta, Georgia, whatever you want to throw out, the icons of LA doesn't do it for them. That doesn't look like the space that they know. That doesn't look like the place. And then you look at, the particular people on the app or whatever that are featured in these stories, you go follow them on the gram and it's like, oh, thank you so much for so-and-so sending me these shoes. That's not what the sneaker game looks like for most of us. There is no sending me some shoes. There's, oh, I got a little extra overtime. I'm finally about to get that pair that been on my mind. You know what I mean? So I hate to see that. That lack of representation in other cities, and that is kind of solely a top four. And at the same time, you're supposed to, engage and interact and all that with this type of content that you don't even truly feel just to get something that you want.
Yeah. And I always, I always do the hashtag for sneaker pick check, but yeah. I deep down that because I'm not their target demographic by the way I look, my age, that I'm not going to be on there. You know what I'm saying? I'd be shocked if it was,
Yeah.
Because I'm not.
And it's like when we do see somebody on there, that we know, it's like, whoa, what? Like, like it's almost like, I don't know, anything in the Black community where we just attach you, like, oh, like if they won, like it feels like you won. And that's what I'm saying. How could you as a brand not want to tap into more of those moments? How could you not want to tap into those communities that you swear you helping, and we're doing this and this and that, and we'll put Black Lives Matter across the NBA court for a season, and all these things? How could you not want to tap into more of those smaller wins versus like, let me get this big person with clout that nobody relates to? So as much as we, feel like some of the brands that we love and that we, constantly purchase from are future proof or thinking about like the next thing, they're still very archaic in a lot of ways, and to me they are when it comes to the content and how they source talent.
I agree with all of that. I agree. Well, let me ask you this. With because I'm my mind is going a million different directions. Gotta stay on. With the sneakers in the pandemic, because we started the show talking about the pandemic, what's the biggest adjustment or change you've had to make with sneakers post-pandemic? Or have there been any? There may not have been.
I would put it this way. I've had a lot of change over the last year. So Antonio and I recently got married. Moved in. I moved back from California to Texas.
Congrats.
Thank you. So just being established, we've both been grinding. We've always been grinders, but just grinding on different levels. So I would say we probably bought more shoes in the pandemic. But what I would say has changed is I think my mentality on how I buy and how I purchase, and not just in terms of sneakers, but in terms of apparel. We all have become more conscious in the last year of how we purchase, right? Like 2 years ago, you didn't scroll through your gram and you just see Black on brand, Black on business, Black on, like touted the way that we do now. And I love to see that. So I am very much more conscious. I would rather give you $70 for a pair of shorts that you worked hard on and you put out into the world and you put all your blood, sweat, and tears in it than me go on Nike and get them 95. You know what I mean? So I am a lot more conscious, I think, in the apparel that I wear. And then I would say for sneakers in particular, I think right now I'm kind of in that space, and probably only because of last month, like I copped so much, but is that I am very conscious about, like, do you want it because like you like the colors, or do you feel it? You know what I mean? Like, so it's not, I don't know, like, again, this is another piece that I just like, I'm like on my business page one day, I'm gonna speak to this, is the endless amount of content that brands, stores, each other, that we throw at each other in the day. Definitely catapulted by social media, but you can attest to this. Like, I don't know, maybe even 5-10 years ago, you didn't get 6 pairs of sneakers dropping, you know, to your knowledge within an app, you know, a day. You're talking about 25 to 30 pairs of shoes that, if you have that app, are just being shot at you every week, every month, you know, every time you log on. And so just like, you know, your behavior and your nature in Instagram or Facebook, you're definitely like in tuned and you're positioned to think, I need that. I need that. I need that. And I think Jay and a couple of other women's in the comment, Sneaker Vibes Only, talked about just that, kind of the endless cycle and push of content in front of us. So the more that you stay connected to it, the more you feel like you need. And then in turn, it continues because of us. Because, for instance, if I took a picture, and this is where I'm going to go digital 319 and social media sitting on y'all. But if I took a picture right now outside with my mochas on, and then somebody else, same outfit or different outfit, but same vibe, same amount of followers, whatever, they went and posted a pic with either their A Lady Made 14s on or the lightning yellow 4s. Because those shoes just dropped, that's the hottest pic. That's the hottest pic, you know, in light. So when you talk about older sneakerheads, people who've been in the game, like, oh, I just want to, you know, pull out, you know, some OG type stuff or some retros. It's like, like, you know, like it doesn't get the same type of, so that part of it has been annoying to me too, is that we don't see how we're kind of contributing to the cycle. But the more that they push out content, and for Nike, content means shoes. So the more that they push shoes to us, the more we buy. You feel like you can't just go throw on, I'm trying to find like an old pair in front of me. Let's say these Platinum 11s. I can't just go throw these on and expect some clout on my post right now, right? Like I can, like, why not? Like, why would I do that if I have the Lightning 4s, you know? So we feel like we got to have the newest stuff and put it on and take a pic in that week before something else drops. And it's like, it's insane. Like it keeps us going. So I definitely have been, I would say post-pandemic, more conscious about what I'm buying, but also how do I contribute to the community if I feel like I can't throw these on and take a picture. I feel like I have to have on what dropped in the last 2 weeks. So, yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you. I mean, my wife made it to Sneakers Kick Check last month.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I was, you know, she got a lot of love for that. I was happy. But just realizing, because she had on those 6s with the hoops on them.
Yep,
she had really wanted them. You know, she put it together nice or whatever. But I remember telling her, I'm like, you know, another reason why I won't make it is because I don't wear enough new shit. You know, I like to wait it out. You know, like I got the Lightning 4s, but I don't have any immediate plans of wearing them. You know what I mean? Yeah. I wear them in a little while, but not right away. So I understand, you know, what you're saying.
Exactly.
You know, so.
And see, I would say I'm the same. Like I'll have new stuff like DS for forever because I've gotten accustomed to slipping my feet into something else that's, you know, older. And then the other part to that is just, it's not necessarily because I see like Luke, you know, was talking about like I'm not, you know, into the hype. I'm gonna wear what I wear, and I think we're both like that. But it's not people doing it like maliciously or intentionally, because you also have some people who they put that on because they do want to be picked up by a brand, or they do want, you know, to have a little bit more reach, and they know that that's going to be the key. Like if Foot Locker or Finish Line is going to put me in their app or going to share my post, they're not going to share my post with the Platinum 11s on. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to put on something new. So definitely as a Black community, like I hate that for us, because you have to be in a place of not only just mental discernment, but financial discernment to understand like, hey, like, if you don't really like it, don't F with it. Like, why are you buying it? Like, don't buy it for the hopes of getting on Sneakers Kick Check. They not looking for you. You know how many times Sneakers Kick Check is used a day? Like, pull back on that. Buy what you like. Buy what you can afford. So yeah, it's it and the thing is that the brands, they know what they're doing. And our community has never always been privy to being educated and kind of being on the other side of the, you know, the back end of what's actually going on to know how we're being manipulated. So I think that's part of it too. Like, sometimes I feel like we're manipulated, and as much as we love sneakers, I'm like, dang, can we take a break? But we can't. Like, it's a catch-22. It's a hard place.
Yeah, because I mean, I get it, because I post in Facebook groups as well as Instagram. I have a TikTok, but I have yet to really get in that. But I'm gonna have to get young and be in it, you know. But I just I'm always just gonna wear what I'm feeling now, as I've said on this show. And I mean, everybody, you know, we all follow each other. I know I work for Converse, so I wear at least 5 times a week. I'm wearing a Converse shoe.
Your Converse, you know. Yeah.
But, you know, even if I didn't, like, I need to wear like variety. Like,
yeah,
I want to wear some new stuff. You know, I want to mix it up. I can't just wear all new. It just wouldn't feel right. I mean, I could.
Same.
Like, I'm sure you could, and everybody in these comments could, but it just wouldn't feel right. Like, I got to mix it up. You know, I can't just wear Nike all the time. I can't just wear Reebok. It's got to be a mix of things. Yep. You know, but I do have well, I should say, I want to say, you know, again, congrats on your you know, you getting married. Those were some really nice pictures.
Thank you.
You know, how did you decide on the threes being your shoe to get married in?
Yes. Oh my God. So and I'm gonna throw age out there. I know I've been on like most of your lives and you always clown us, but so Antonio and I were born in 92. I knew you were going to come for me. I knew you were going to come for us. So yeah, so we were both born in 92. And originally, when kind of thinking of, okay, what sneaker, because we're both sneaker, like naturally that was going to have to be a part of our wedding. We did a destination wedding, so there were a lot of parts that you have to sacrifice when you do that, right? Like, we're big lovers of our dog. He couldn't come, you know, family, all types of stuff. So every element about our love and our life that we could, you know, still keep within the ceremony and the whole celebration, we wanted to, and sneakers was a part of that. So we thought about getting and wearing the OG Olympic 7s. So it was, I mean, scrolling through Poshmark, through StockX, GOAT, like whatever, to try to get like OG Olympic 7s. And where we found like we could always find his 10.5, but for my size, it was like impossible. Or either I would find them and it was like completely crumbling. So we backed out of kind of an OG pair, and it just so happened the threes. My daddy calls them the Mama Mia threes, so I'm calling them Mama Mia threes because ain't none of us know how to say that. But so those were dropping like the month before the wedding, and I had like, since the first release pictures came out, like we both, you know, just had our eyes, you know, on those. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is a shoe. And then I think it just, you know, worked out also too, just from the colorway. It's a perfect wedding colorway. Like, I know a lot of women like B Styling, I don't know if she's in here, but like she wore off-white 4s for her wedding. But it was the perfect colorway to even match the dress, where with the Olympic 7s, I wasn't trying to match anything. It was just like the year, you know, we're the dream team together. Like, we got this, you know, like it was a whole vibe. So yeah, so those came out a month before, and he was working. So Antonio's a firefighter, and a lot of times when I agree to these lives, I actually do them when he's at the station, because when he's home, I like to be all in home when he's home. So, but yeah, so he wasn't off, and the day that I was free to actually go down to Houston. So Houston's like a 3.5-ish hour drive from Dallas. go down to Houston and enter the in-store raffle, he wasn't off. And I don't like driving. Anybody that knows me, I hate driving. Drive me around, chauffeur me. Like, I don't like driving. My car stays sitting. But I was driving for these shoes. I was gonna make that, 6-hour, 8-hour trip in the day, come back. I had work the next day. And I went into the in-store raffle. I got to link up with one of my favorite sneaker sisters, D Sneaker Freak. She cooked, she do all the things. But me and her linked up. She came in from New Orleans or from Louisiana. And yeah, so entered the raffle. And I think it was maybe 2 days later, I was sitting at my loctician getting my hair done. The email started rolling out. People started posting. I was like, oh my God. And they came through and I was like, all right, this is the shoe. A couple of weeks before the wedding, that's when they did the online drop. Me and Babe were sitting in the bed, both in our laptops, and I hit for his size. So he actually wound up not wearing them to the wedding because it just didn't fit his vibe. And I was like, this your one day. You got to wear what you want to wear. You got to feel how you want to feel. So, yeah, I think it was just literally a matter of timing. And then to this day, like last weekend, we went down there again to enter the free lunch raffle for the dunks, for the free lunch chocolate milk dunks. And I wore them, the threes, for the first time since the wedding. And it didn't feel right. I was like, I can't put these back on. Like, it just felt like not having my wedding dress on with them. It felt like I put on a veil and walked out the house. Like it felt like a piece of the magic. So I don't think I'm going to wear them again. And that's the first time that I think I've ever said that about any pair. Like, unless I one day can like be rich and double up, and I don't know, like it just felt so weird wearing them. So like we got in the car and I took them off. Like I was like, this don't feel right. So yeah, but the whole storyline, I've always kind of been pinned or coined like as a storyteller, and any shoe that has like deep connection, and not even the trailer, just like, and then when you get it in hand and you could just feel the amount of passion that was put into the project, which is another reason why as a community, I think we have to stop thinking about shoes as an Instagram post and, something to, cover up my socks. But they're art. For someone, they were art. We might not ever always know the designer. We might not know the people who create them, but I definitely fall in love more with a piece that I pick up out of the box and I could just feel everything that James and his team put into the shoe. Which is why before we got on here today, I spent an hour and a half entering Joe Fresh Goods raffles. Like I had all the links up and I went one by one to try to get the outside clothes that's going to drop on the 10th. But definitely connect to the story. And I think because that pair had such a strong story, Antonio and I have known each other since we were 10 years old. So we have a strong story, and all of that it was magic. So.
You've known, say that again?
You like back that up? We have known each other since we were 10 years old. Not dated that long, but yeah. Yeah.
That's a beautiful, your whole life.
Yeah, we're at that point
well, I'm gonna
where
say
we've known
this.
each other, longer than we haven't. So,
wow.
It's crazy.
I see everybody in the comments putting, the year they was born or whatever,
Yeah.
I was born in 1980. Can't nothing. 1980. Holla at your boy. Okay.
Yeah, I know when Key was on here and she told her year, you was like, dang, you was like, I'm gonna have to come back to the camera.
Hey, what messes me up is I'll have shoes that I bought in 2003 or 4, and they'll start crumbling. It's like, it's one thing if you got a shoe from the 80s or the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But, damn, I bought these. I was an adult. I was working, and they're crumbling. You know what I mean? It makes me feel, like, damn, nigga, you are old. You old, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Do you feel like the shoes that you kind of like wore most, so say like those 2003, 2004 pairs, do you feel like, oh, well, back then I was wearing these like daily or on the regular, so that's why? Or it's like pairs where you maybe touch them a few times and they still crumble?
The latter. I mean, I've always had a lot of shoes since I've been old enough to work and buying myself.
Yeah.
So, now certain shoes like Air Force Ones, Dunks, Chucks, but like my Air Max collection has made 5 or 6 different wings of all of these. These from the early 2000s, now these from the late 2000s are starting to crack. So yeah, it's the Air Maxes and some of the Nike basketballs probably been through the most changes, but some of those shoes I wish I would have worn more,
Yeah.
But
yeah, I have like a few pairs from high school, middle school, from at my parents' house back in Georgia, but like I said, I've bounced from Georgia to Texas to California since graduating. So I'm definitely not one of those sneakerheads that's like, oh, like let me, I can't pull out a lot of old stuff that I had because it's either at my parents' house or over the years, like I am a cleanser. So I have like this whole stack now. Like I know I mentioned on my story the other day, I was like, I think I'm gonna do a closet sale because I have shoes that maybe I worn once. Or I've never worn them, and I know like if I walked in here and somebody robbed our closet and those were gone, I wouldn't blink twice. So I am a person, like I will cleanse like every 90 days. I go through my clothes, I go through my sneakers, and I think I just got to the point where it's like, yeah, I'll give them, like a secondhand store or Goodwill or like a local shop or something. But I was like, I think I'm gonna try this out where I can just kind of give back to our little community on the gram or the people that I know. But I'm not a Forces girl and I'm not a 90s girl, but sometimes I call myself buying them and I'm like, girl, like you're not even wearing these. So I have a few, I just have Air Maxes. I got all type of stuff that I've like still got the box, never worn them. So yeah, I cleanse. I don't have to hold on to every pair I ever had. I will cleanse and not think twice about them.
That's good because I'm like, I hold on to everything, man. I got stuff from high school that I still, just hold on to like I can't let
yes.
So,
yeah.
That, if my wife is still in this video or can hear me, she'll be like, yeah, because
he don't get rid of nothing.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, when we moved down here last August, we had a garage sale and I sold about 50, 60 pairs.
That's good,
that didn't. Yeah. But since I've been here, I bought so much more than that. It's like it didn't even matter, man. Like
exactly. It just piles back up. That's what I'm saying. If y'all saw our floor right now, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boxes and 2 on the way. So I have like 10 boxes of shoes on the floor. And that's why I've like gotten to that point where normally Antonio has already made space to put more containers. Like y'all can't see it, but it's a blank space for him to buy 10 more containers from Container Store. But I've gotten to the point where I'm like, no, if it can't fit in these, it has to go. So figure out what you're getting rid of. So that's where I am. I'm in the midst of a cleanse for sure. Like it's time. I have a couple of pairs that like I've held on to for a while that I'll probably never put on again. I can't even wear. He has some too, but he's definitely a holder. I will cleanse and be fine with it because I know somebody else is going to use it.
See, I think that's a women thing because see, my wife good. Whatever, I don't care about these. It was some shoes she put on Bakari. Like I ain't never worn these. I ain't never gonna wear them. And I'm like, nah, I keep them. You can do this, that. But me, as soon as I sell them, I'm gonna find a shirt or find something. I'm like, yeah, man, I should.
Yep, I'm like that's exactly how you feel. I'm about to see this pair of Dunks. I don't know what year these is. Probably like 2014, 2013. But I know this boy is not going to put these on ever again. Yeah, 2015. He's never going to put these on ever again. So why are we not getting rid of them?
I'll just say for me, I'm unnecessarily nostalgic. So
yeah,
I just like old shit. I don't post as much as I used to. The old stuff I did post the NBA on NBC intro this morning, but it's like sometimes in my mind I'll go back to a time and I'm like, man, like the other day I wore the Motley Crue Dr. Feelgood Dunks because I was thinking about that. I was like, I'm gonna wear those shoes because, whatever. But I don't know. It's something I'm trying to working on. Maybe y'all will see me, like, yeah, I'm selling these or whatever. Usually, if you see me post something for sale, because I'm actually going to post some stuff either later today or tomorrow, it's usually stuff that I can't fit, that I have no, so, because I have a son that's in man size shoes, so he doesn't care about sneakers, so, y'all can get that. But,
I think that's the thing too, like, to your point though, like, part of it, of the letting go, is kind of goes back to how the game has gotten, like, with buying sneakers. And then just what you have in your possession, you have no idea when you're going to need that rainy day emergency fund. And that pair of Dunks that you done had, since 2005, now all of a sudden, they worth something. Or, like, that's the other part about it. We feel we got this need to, like, oh, I don't know if I should let these go because, I don't know what this is going to look like. And I might need to cash that check in one day. So it's crazy. It's very unpredictable.
Yeah, and then sometimes you let stuff go. Like, for instance, I sold a pair of this shows you, you're gonna remember or see the time talking. I sold my friend some Air Force 2s, the 76ers Air Force 2s. Those have only come out once in a high top form in 2002. I sold them because I don't really wear them, but like I can't find them bitches anywhere online. They're just, because that sneaker vortex is where you'll have a shoe you want, and it's not about the money. You just can't. You know what I mean? It's like it never came out, and that shoe was in it, and I don't want to sell stuff and then want it back and not be able to get it.
Yeah, and that's just like for that short stint of this year where just regular Air Force Ones, white and black, you couldn't just walk into the store and find them. Like, that short stint where that was going stupid. So it's like that. It's like you would never know. Like, I mean, every black kid that wore sneakers coming up, you had a pair of Air Force Ones at one point, whether it was the black or the white pair. Antonio is a big Air Force One collector, so a lot of his are Air Force Ones. I'm looking at, he has even like those Colin Kaepernick Air Force Ones. Like, he loves forces. So it's just crazy that, like we said, it can be the most basic, like, okay, this is what we had. Like, this was your plain Jane pair that your parents picked out. Then you had some flashy pair that you wanted or whatever. But, like, that short stint where you couldn't even just walk into the store and get a pair of Air Force Ones was stupid.
Yeah. And last summer, I was still with Foot Locker. And I had people coming in, buying up Air Force Ones to resell them for $150, and it was working. That's how I knew it was different. And this was after the pandemic had started, but
yeah,
I can't picture that. I mean, back in the day, the 2000s, you have an Air Force One premium. It might be $120, but $150 for a regular pair with the shit leather.
Regular pair.
Yeah, I can't do it.
That's crazy. So what would you say, like, being that you've been in this space for so long, like, what is the, I guess, wildest change that you've seen, or like, how do you, because it's become like so global, right? Like, I mean, something that I feel like a lot of us feel like we know this started with Black culture, like we know this started, in the space that we probably groomed, and, ghetto until fashionable, right? And so, like, what would you say has been the wildest change that you've seen in this space?
Ooh, it's sort of like, I compare the way sneakers are to people's love for Kobe. Now, I say this because not even talking about him passing away, but back in the early 2000s, everybody was into different stuff. You had people into sneakers, but you had people that was all about putting sounds in their car, and you had people that were just into different things, people with Yu-Gi-Oh cards and stuff like that. So sneakers weren't the thing to do. And I used to get looked at weird by girls, by other dudes, because I had so. And after a while, it started to shift. And I liken it to him because by 2008, when he finally won his first MVP, everybody loved Kobe. Everybody loved sneakers. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't like that before. So the fact that being a sneakerhead is such a it's such a mainstream thing. I mean, all the celebrities are into sneakers now,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean. You know, I go on Monica's page and she got all the dunks. Like, you were famous in the '90s and the 2000s. You ain't have on no dunks.
Yeah.
You said like, nah. So the fact that it's such a mainstream thing and it's the thing to do, much like loving Kobe, it's the same thing for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
Like, you wasn't there. You was rocking with Vince Carter and Allen Iverson. You wasn't messing with Kobe. You wasn't messing with sneakers. You wasn't there. So it's a lot of posers and a lot of people act like, oh, well, I've been here. I've been in this. No, you wasn't. You had the same case.
Yep.
The same case Swisses, and you wore them all year until next year. Like, you wasn't really about this life. So it's a lot of perpetrators. And I know I sound like the old man, get off my yard.
No, you know, it's real though. It's real.
But, you know, and everybody has stuff they can get into. I'm not saying everybody should be like me, but if you really haven't been in it that long, just say, you know, I've really been
flex.
in it.
Yeah.
Don't try to flex. And there's so many people trying to get clout through sneakers when the real people know. Like, I can tell all the people in the comments, y'all was there. You know what I'm saying? You was there. I was there. But you know, you wasn't there.
Yeah.
So that's the change. Just a lot of things that used to mean something don't. Like, the other differences with the shoes themselves. Before the pandemic, if a shoe was full family, you'd be like, well, it ain't gonna be hard to get. It's full family.
Yeah.
But now, because again, I've told the story on pretty much every episode. I'm gonna tell it again. You know, when the pandemic started, you could get the court purple ones, you could get the DMP 6s, you could get the silver tongue fire reds. But when those Flints came out, everything was different. I still don't have the new pair because I refuse to pay resale for that shoe.
Yeah.
I just can't do it. Like, that is, and I mean, being honest, and some people are going to look at me crazy when I say this, but I don't even be wanting to pay box. I'm used to getting a discount. So, like how they were before. I don't want to pay box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I got to pay that, you know, fine. But I can't pay $250 or $300 for that shoe. So the full family thing is different. The fact that with grade school, 6, 6.5, and 7 were always popular sizes before the pandemic. But the fact that those sizes in many cases sell for more than my size does is also different. So it's so many different changes just in the last couple of years, but the people trying to flex and get clout for sneakers is annoying. And because I post my sneakers every day, I hope that people can tell the difference between, you know, people like, you know, everybody that, you know, is in these comments and you and I on the show and the people that in that and the resellers. But, you know, we could talk all day. This could be a whole nother episode about the resellers and some of the shit they do.
All day.
But, you know, but let me ask you, with sneakers, we got to go through the basic questions right quick. Now, what's your favorite shoe?
My favorite shoe, I would say a silhouette I can't live without. It goes back to the 14. Okay. Like, 14 is definitely my favorite silhouette. Like, of course, I wouldn't even say that that's you know, probably the shoe that I feel like, oh, it looks best on my foot, or I can rock this with, you know, a lot of things in my wardrobe. But it goes back to, like we said, that nostalgia, that story, a lot of what you were just talking about, you know, like you wasn't with us shooting in the gym type, you know, mentality of if you can pay, you know, $400 to $500 or $300 to $400 for sneakers all the time, like you're constantly copying resale. I think to me, that's always a telling factor. Of like, you know, if you were shooting in the gym or if you wasn't. Because for instance, like you said, if you was used to getting discounts on box price, or if you was used to paying stuff for box price, like that, it's outrageous to you that particular, you know, shoe is that much. So when you were speaking, like all I could think about, and I've seen this across a number of industries and verticals since the pandemic, is just there are no lanes anymore. There are no lanes. If you are famous, if you have a platform, and as much as we, you know, and I'm not saying hate in a negative light, but for instance, you brought up Monica, so I'm gonna ride on that wave. if it's a Monica and whoever, it's a big sneaker influencer girl that I know a lot of people follow. And if you just give 5 big scrolls on her Instagram, you'll go and see all her pictures from 2 years ago where she got the same Converses and Adidas on. And now she got sneaker closets, right? But there are no lanes anymore. And as much as we want to hate them and hate the player, we got to hate the game, because that's what those brands are paying for. Like, again, being on the back end of marketing, if I need an influencer for Dr. Pepper, I take that particular influencer, I put them up against this chart, and I'll say, okay, their audience is, you know, a clout of 3 million. What are the 6 psychographic interests of that audience? Is it sneakers? Is it games? Is it cars? Is it food? Whatever. And I'm going to attack all 6 psychographic interests. And then whichever one returns me the most, you know, profit, product sales, likes, whatever that is, that's what I'm going to go after for. Okay, Monica, you was, you know, rocking heels all through the 90s, and your particular demographic are Black women who you make them feel empowered. They're also into the sneaker game. Let's ride that wave real quick. And then you ride that wave, and then boom, that's where we're going to sit. Monica, go live with nice kicks and show you off your sneaker closet. We'll build it tomorrow. The live is day after. Done. Like, that's literally how all of that shit always lines up. That's how it lines up. So it sucks because it's a don't hate the player, hate the game thing. But all of that to answer your question, the 14. But you, Shorty, you asked the questions that just get me going. So it's like I can't hold back.
Hey, all good, all good. Hey, I did want to also apologize. Sorry about that little snafu with the flyer. You know what I mean? At first. So
oh no, it's all
glad
good.
I was able to get.
It's all good.
Yeah. I appreciate all of y'all in these comments too. Y'all got me rolling.
They are hilarious. I'm dead.
Well, that's true about him. He's worse than Monica because when like I'm all about the Migos. Like they were the last like newer group where I'm like, these niggas hilarious, but the beats is going.
Yeah.
You know, but they was wearing Giuseppe Zanotti's. They was wearing, you know, all the fashion bullshit. You know what I mean? They weren't wearing no sneakers. So it's the same thing. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You know, but it's just all good. Now, all right, that's your favorite shoe. What's your go-to shoe? I'm going to fuck them up today with these. Is there one shoe or a series that?
What has been my latest? I'm going to fuck them up. I would say probably, but I mean, this shoe has a seasonality because I'm not putting these on in the Texas heat, but probably my patent leather UNC ones. Like, this is a rainy day, a sneaker expo. I'm definitely always that one, like, even this past weekend at the Kickback Expo, I like to put on something that I feel like nobody else is going to have on. Like, bruh, like, tell me why at this expo, if I saw another of the new Off-White Dunks, lot 1 out of however many, 50, whatever they came out with, I saw all 50. And then Travis Scott Lowe's, a few pairs. What else did everybody have? It was 3 particular silhouettes that every person. Oh, Yeezy slides. The Yeezy slides. Yeezy slides, lot 1 through 50 of the Dunks. And the Travis Scott Lowe's. Like, that's what it was like, let me step out. And I saw a few like of like the Desert Moss 4s, the Unions and Topes, which I have the Desert Moss ones. But even then I'm like, I wore mine. They're probably still in the suitcase. Nah, they right here. And I'm also like not a person straight that I don't clean my sneakers. Everybody, sometimes people not in the game, like my family, like, what do you use to clean your sneakers? Antonio is a clean freak. I'm a clean freak, but not when it comes to my sneakers, just because I like all the character to still be on them. But this is what I wore to the Kickback. My Lily. I saw nobody with them on. I've never worn them with the fur, but I'm definitely that person. Like, I don't care if it's hype or not. I don't care if it's New Balance, Adidas, whatever. I just want to wear, like, I'm gonna be the only person in the building with this on. It was nobody with these on. So yeah.
That was when I still can't see you, so everybody else can see.
Oh my god!
What was that? Was that the Lily Mae ones with the fur on them?
Yeah, the Court Lux. Yeah, the Court Lux and Lily Mae ones.
Nah, but I do the same thing. Anytime I've either been in a sneaker show or went to a sneaker show, I'll try to pull out a PE or something wearable that I know nobody else is gonna have.
Yep.
You know, or the last sneaker con I went to, I had these what the Hirachis I had made when you could still get good, you know,
Nice.
Options on Nike ID. But this
Nike
is like
ID, yeah.
2015 when I made them, but I didn't break them out for a couple years, so I broke them out there. So yeah, either a 101, a PE. I'm the same. Something I know nobody else is gonna have.
Nobody else in the building gonna have it on. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying too. Like, I feel like the Durham scene, like at that particular expo, demographically, it was very similar to kind of like the Dallas scene, just like super diverse, like whatever. But like, I feel like if I wore my Court Lux ones at an expo here in Dallas, I probably would see one or two other women with them on. But there it was Yeezy foams, the Dunks, and Travis Scott lows. Like, if you didn't have them on, you probably had on some the Lightning 4s or Pollen 1, something that just dropped. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now, what's the sneaker in your collection that you really need to undead stock? Or I should say, what's the one you need to undead stock most? Or is there one?
Okay, so I just got the new Aleli May 14s, and I can't wait to put them on. But that's like, that just came this week. I had to pay resale. I couldn't let that go, and I also wasn't about to wait. Even though I know, like, recently, I feel like a lot of her, like, unless it's the 6s or like her very first ones, like the shadows with kind of like the felt swoosh on it. Like, I know a lot of hers after they drop, they kind of drop a bit on the resale. But I still didn't want to take my chances with the 14. So those need to be on DS for real. And then surprisingly, I did get this year's Carmines. I know in a couple of groups we talked about like the quality wasn't the best, but I have still not worn my Carmine 6s, and I have not worn my Flint 13s. Like, I just haven't. In Texas, I mean, I know like sometimes, like you had Nerd Star on here, and she's in Detroit. You know, she was like, you know, summer is like one good month. In Texas, summer is like, you know, unless it's a crazy year, we had that snowstorm like earlier this year. Summer is like about April to October, November. So a lot of my high top shoes don't see the light of day that often here. I wear them back home, like in Georgia or something. But yeah, I still have not worn my Carmine 6s, which is kind of wild. So,
okay. Yeah, that's something, you know, again, being from Ohio, when, you know, customers with Converse, they'd be like, yeah, we just want lows. We don't wear high tops down here unless it's cold. I'm
yeah.
Like, we wear high tops all year round. You know what I mean? Where I'm from, though, shit, it's a Jordan. You know, throw it on, you know.
Yeah. See, that is, I mean, I don't know. I guess some people may, but I know me and Antonio are definitely, this year, that's another thing I think, too. We've copped a lot of more low tops, just a lot of low dunks. Like, we have a high dunks, like I showed y'all his other pair from way back when or whatever. But we've definitely been copping a lot more lows. Like, our wardrobe has kind of changed a little bit, but he was definitely a high top guy. And recently he picked up, I know you can't see me, but he picked up these Dusty Olive dunks. He traded the Dusty Olives. He got these and he traded, what did he trade for these? The pollen ones that I told you we picked up in San Francisco at Undefeated, the local shop that we've kind of gotten pretty good in with recently. He went and took those in. I think he paid a couple of extra bucks and got these Dusty Olives. So he's been definitely kind of on his low top game because he has a lot of high tops. So like, he got like foams and stuff. Like, you can't wear foams in Texas. It got to be dead smack winter. Like, I mean, they got to be cold for that. So he's gotten out of his high top game into lows.
Oh, man. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I will say, being in the South, I do like the fact that I can wear my sneakers all year round. Because a lot of them, like when you had a fancy car, it's like, yeah, I got to put it on the blocks for the winter. It was like that with the sneakers. It was like, man, I can't even wear these Hair 7s in December. So, you know, I feel it. The weather does play a part.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you already talked about the you're probably not gonna wear the Amama Year
3s, yeah.
But is there another shoe you have that you won't undead stock? You just never gonna wear it?
I think. Oh my God! So I forgot about this pair. So there's a pair of LeBrons. Let me see. I probably didn't even get the name wrong. Because I really wanted the like LeBron kind of the bow nose Air Trainer 3s, that kind of redrop, and it was a LeBron kind of like navy, this like brownish colorway. But Antonio brought me some for so it's a LeBron 16, and he brought these for me for Christmas. So that's the other thing too, like when we gift each other, like it's not always like some stuff that like recently dropped. Like these I just got them this past Christmas, and I still haven't worn them. And it's just because I'm waiting for like the right fall fit to rock them. But me and him are both LeBron fans. We've always been LeBron fans. So whatever team he had, that's where we at. So these, I don't know. I definitely rock them, but I've had these for almost a year now and haven't put them on. So I love these 16s. It's definitely a dope silhouette, but yeah, we'll buy each other old shit every now and then. So I like that.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have that shoe.
Yes.
I found it like November, December at the outlet, and I still have yet to wear it.
Yeah, I haven't worn mine yet.
16, because I have that Trainer 3, but whenever I up my foot, like I've only worn it.
Really?
But it must not have been made well, because I have other Trainer 3s that are cool, but that one, it just bothers my foot every time. Like it reactivated my plantar fasciitis the last time. But it's such a hard to find. She was like, I'm about to just put some
yeah.
So
it is. And I don't know, like I'm with you on that one, because my other Air Trainer 3s, like I have like the Biotex, I have another colorway in here somewhere, but Air Trainer 3s do hurt my feet too. But again, like I said, I've had hardware in my left foot for like 11 years, and I've only had it out for about a year, so my feet are just funny in general. But Air Trainer 3s, they hurt my feet, but I still want that LeBron pair. So
yeah, I had to get them. I mean, they were cheap and they were at the outlet. I mean, I hate that it's no top of the box, but
right, I know.
It's all good.
Do you know like why they do that? Like, what's the purpose of the top of the box cut off at outlets?
Well, I guess it's so you can see it.
Just do it easily. Yeah.
On the I know the Nike store by me, lately with the returns, they just have them on display like a regular shoe store, and you'd be like, y'all, let me get this. If it's in my size, let me get that. So they've started to change it up a little bit. But in the comments, one thing that did kind of make me laugh was Jordan got air said, dudes.
Penny Hardaway's.
Well, it was the dudes from the early 90s feel like Thanos when they go in their closet. I feel that way.
I love it.
It's like
I love it.
Half of the shit they bring back to Griffey's is like, got all that shit already. They bring, the Kobe's, all that, but I don't know. I love old shit. And I feel like you and many of the others in this live appreciate it too. So now what's the shoe that everyone around you in the shoe game loves, but you just don't fuck with?
It'll have to be an Air Max 90.
Okay.
So it's nothing to do with the silhouette. I love the silhouette and I think it's dope, but my like calf to ankle ratio situation, I just don't think it look right on me. Whether it's with shorts or bikers or jeans, like something about the 90 just don't. So I actually, even though in high school, that's like what me and my sister would get. Like when my parents took us for that 2 for $89, we always have a 90 come out of that. But I only have 2 pairs of 90s. One I recently picked up, and this is problematic from Kesey or Soul, because she picked these up. She sent the link to the group. But dang, I'm gonna have to send you a picture of all these shoes, because I can't even with the fact you can't see me. But I picked up this recent 90, and it gives you like 90 vibes. Like it has, I don't know, 3 different types of material. You got satin, you got, felt, you got like, it got the houndstooth little pattern. So 90s are just not mine. So like when the Bacons dropped, there was some other 90s that dropped there. I remember all the groups that I'm in were going. I'm like, I can help whoever. And they were just like, what do you mean? Like 90s just, they don't do it for me and the way they look on me. So yeah. What's your shoe?
Well, I do want to say right quick that, and I know my wife is watching and she probably can hear me since my voice came. I was like that with the 90 for a long time. For a long time, I just had my infrareds from the history of Air Pack. I had the infrareds from the OG pack where they made them look old on purpose. Like 12, 13. And I had the corks but I didn't really mess with 90s. But over the last maybe 3-4 years, I've really started to embrace them. For me, they just ran. Nikes already are narrow anyway on the running shoes, but the 90 has always been like crazy narrow on my foot. And you talk about your calf to like I'm too short. I'm short and I have big feet. Like I wear an 11 and a half, 12 in Nikes.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of shoes just don't really.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is for me too, because I'm 5'2" and I wear 8 women. So sometimes people are like, oh, that's not like they think I wear like a 6 or a 6.5, but I'm short and I wear 8 women. So and sometimes 8.5 depending. So maybe that's what it is. Yeah, 90s just don't do it. But my favorite Air Max, since I don't like 90, is a 97. Like I would rock a 97 all up and down. 97 and then I would say a 1, but a 97 is give it to me. I love a 97.
See, for me, the 97 is probably the only Air Max that really is lacking. Like I have my silver pair from 2006, so some of them for those are over with. I do have the gold ones, and I have maybe 2 or 3 other pairs. I have an ID pair I made years ago, like 2007, but I prefer the 98 over the 97.
Oh yeah,
the 98 is more comfortable, even though it's the same air sole, air bubble midsole. It just feels better on my foot.
Yeah.
But the shoe I don't fuck with that everybody seems to love. Gosh, this is tough. I don't really like. Usually, it's colorways of a shoe. It won't be the shoe itself.
Yeah, same.
I don't. I don't care for the Yeezy 380, and I don't think everybody loves that shoe anyway. But I don't really care for that. The 700 has to be a certain color.
You have some Yeezy fans coming for your neck in these comments.
Yeah. So, like I said, I own a pair of 700s that I found thrifting. Didn't pay any real money for them.
Oh, but, nice.
Probably just Yeezys. Oh, nah, forget that. The New Balance 991, 992, like I don't want to offend anybody from DC or, they making some good labs, but they still look like old man.
You can't get with them.
Yeah. I can't get with them.
I mean, they are definitely like Nike, right? They're dropping more content. So they're coming out with a lot more colorways that I think they're trying to, grab people into their space. But I don't mind the 992s. I agree that yes, they still give like dad shoe vibes, but I don't mind the dad shoe look. And also I feel like it's just like you said, like it depends on the colorway, right? So some of the colorways, like I'm just like really into it. I'm like, this don't even give me the dad shoe vibes, but I feel you on the Yeezys. I do not own one pair of Yeezy anything. A slide, a sneaker. I don't own Yeezy anything. Antonio has a couple of pairs. We've been entering the raffles for him to get those slides. So he's into it, but I don't own a pair of Yeezys at all. I've actually never even tried a pair on, so I don't even know what a pair feels like on my foot. But yeah, I've kind of been to the dad shoe game with whether it's Adidas, like Torsions, or either New Balance. Like I have a couple of New Balance up there. Like I don't hate them, but for me, it's definitely a colorway thing. Like I can't just rock every 992, but you got D Sneaker Freak in the building, and she is New Balance's ambassador, and they don't even know it. So
yeah, she we talked about that when she was on here. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. She ain't here. And I know everybody like, what? You don't have any? I just don't like. It's not like I don't know what it is about them. I don't dislike them. I think the 350 silhouette is cool. I like those ones that just came out, like the Inflame Amber or Amber Inflame. They like more orange or whatever. I don't know. I don't be wanting to go for them. And then like the price point, especially like I have a lot of them, like Adidas. What are they, like NMDRs? Like those are like my beaters. Like I'm going to the store doing something in the garage, whatever. Like I put those on, and to me, Let me see what his pair of Yeezys are like. The 350s, I think that's what they call. Like, see, I don't even know the names of them. Like, I don't know. The price point just don't do it for me. I don't know. So if I hit on a pair, I do go for some every now and then. But if I hit, I hit. But it's never anything that I'll like. I don't stock it on anything to try to find it or go back and grab it. Like, I'll go for them, but I don't know. I'm just not into them.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I know that you and your husband are both into sneakers, which is a beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful and also problematic. Because then you got to juggle when when both of y'all want something and one of y'all hit, then you feel guilty that you hit. So you need to go like buy them that sneaker or vice versa.
I went through that on Friday with I tried to win those fours for my wife.
Yes.
And then like 2 hours later, Nike had granted me the access to the Travis Scott.
The Travis Scott logos. Yep.
Yeah. So, and the hoodie, I had to get the hoodie too. So
I saw you caught both.
Yeah, I was happy I was able to do it, but I still felt bad.
You feel bad.
You know what I mean? So
yep.
That
has happened to us. Yeah, on a few pairs. The mochas were that way. I wasn't really into the mochas until I had them in hand. But of course, we both going. He really wanted them since picks came out day one. So I hit on my size, and he didn't hit. And then he wound up winning them on a local raffle here from one of the stores here. And then it recently happened on the Undefeated Dunks, the purple and blue, that collab that they did with the Air Force One pack too. So I want them bad. Like, I'm still sitting, like, I probably might reach back and get them, but he hit on his size and I didn't hit. So it's, it sucks sometimes. You feel guilty if you don't hit, like, when somebody really wants something, but also, you also have those conversations too, where we'd be like, we could just get rid of clothes and put up shoes. So it's a beautiful thing, but it's problematic sometimes because y'all both going for stuff.
Yeah. Like, for instance, let me see. This was a question here. Young Luke Hang. What if one person's stunting harder than the other? Hey, I'll say it. I've always come from the old school where your girl is supposed to outshine you.
Yes.
And I feel like my wife does that. It's to the point where, like, I don't try to keep up with her, because to me, y'all already have an advantage over us anyway. And
yeah.
And I'm gonna just say, but y'all, it doesn't really matter what y'all wear. If y'all are pretty, y'all are gonna get attention. If y'all can dress and have sneakers, that's just icing on the cake. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the added factor.
Yeah, but it's been a few times where we went out and, my wife was dressed considerably better than me. You know what I mean? But I've, I can handle it. You know what I mean? I want her to shine out there.
I feel that. Yeah, I would say, so Antonio recently just had a birthday 2 weeks ago. And like I said, how we both kind of, like your wardrobe changes every now and then, right? Like I said, like normally he was in the high tops, and over the last year, like he copped a lot of kind of just like low top, a lot of dunks, a lot of Air Max 1s, stuff like that. So his wardrobe changes just like mine changes. So he's a man of uniform. Like I said, he's a firefighter. So he doesn't get to, I can just on any given day wake up and throw on a nice fit and rock some sneakers. And so I have, just like you said, we kind of just have an advantage because I just have time. I look at my closet. I, think about the things I might wear next Wednesday. But because he's mostly, in gear and stuff, he doesn't, like his stuff, everything, if y'all saw our closet up close, his stuff looks brand new. Everything that he has looks DS. Like, it's just, and it kills me because I'll, like, have a dope pair, but it's scuff marks, it's creased, it's whatever. But everything he has looks DS. But he definitely kind of stepping into his bag a bit, like, with a little bit more swag. And that's just kind of always been me. Like, I've always kind of been that creative at heart, in everything that I do, and it comes to my wardrobe too. So I agree. I did a poll not too long ago where it was when we were in San Fran, and I actually said, all right, who is best dressed on the trip? And I shared a couple of fits from the week, and he wore like, what did he wear? He wore like the Maze dunks. He had he had on some heat. I'll give it to him. But the poll was actually like 50-50. And I was like, who are y'all? And even like some of the guys in the chat, like D Will and stuff, they was like, I'm sorry, sis, but I gotta give it to bro. I was like, wow. But yeah, I agree. It's no competition whatsoever because he bought me stuff, I buy him stuff. We hit stuff on our own, and it's just I'm always that person. I don't care who you are, man, woman, whatever. Wear what you like, wear what you feel. Every now and then I gotta stop him before we walk out the door. Be like, this not fitting the vibe that I'm going for. Like, you can't be dressed like winter and I'm dressed like summer. That's like my one rule. You can't have a long sleeve shirt and I'm over here in the crop top and shorts. We're not doing that. But but other than that, wear what you feel. We're not the matchy couple. We don't like if you got an orange shirt, I need an orange shirt. I don't like all that. Every now and then we might get caught wearing the same pair of kicks, but I don't like matching. Like, everybody got their own style, so.
Sure. we used to do that where we might have the same kicks on, but it's rare. We actually
rare.
We went home and we did a week of the same kicks. We posted it, but yeah, usually not.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Well, what direction do you see your collection going in the future?
I would definitely say we kind of touched on this a little bit, but a lot more selective. I'm not one, both of us aren't, like, and most people in this group, which is why we're all like, true sneakerheads. We buy what we like. We like what we like, right? I don't care if the Off-White had 10,000 pairs of light dunks. I don't care. Like, those, they don't faze me. It's kind of, I guess, the same for Yeezys. Like, I know they have a lot of hype. A lot of people love them, but they never rubbed me that way. So I just don't go after them like that. So I would just say, like, more selective, in the sense of just thinking about, like, not so deep to where, like, how does this purchase, like, impact what these brands are, how they're really manipulating us. But I think about that, obviously, as a marketing professional. But just more selective in, like, what type of, story does this hold for me? Like, do I feel like the questions you asked me tonight, if I had to get rid of 5 pairs, if that's in that number, why am I even spending the money on it? Kind of thing. Like, I would, like my collection to definitely be pairs that I just feel connected to, or, I love it for more than the reason of, oh, this was $100 sneaker, that I just copped and I got it. I didn't really care for it, but I kept it. Like, I don't like that feeling. I'd rather that be in the hands of somebody else. So.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I've really been on lately has been, reachbacks, trying to get shoes that I missed. The L's will make you, do that. But as we go forward, we're talking about, the direction of your collection. What is on your radar, like, next, like, rest of this year? Like, what do you plan on, trying to get?
Yeah. So I only have 2. And I know we probably all say your face. I know we probably all say this, like, a few times in the year, because I swear earlier in the year, like, y'all can mark, like, go scroll through my page and like, my girls group come in. I was like, oh, if I get them Hyper Royals, I'm done. Like, I'm done. I got everything I want. And then, like, 2 weeks later, release pictures came out for the 14s for Laylee, and I was just like, dang it. So I say I have 2. We almost at the end of the year, so I feel like I can stick to that. But I really want the Joe Fresh goods because I missed out on his, first New Balance release. I have a lot of his apparel. I cop a lot of his art, like, stuff like that. But I really want the outside clothes that dropped this week. And then I was really, really in love with the Seafoam ones that recently came out. I just love that colorway. Like, I'm in love with it. So I know I will either probably trade. I actually was blessed and gifted by a brand with the Lightning 4s that just came out. They like had touchdown back home on a flight and checked my DMs, and they were sending me the shoe. So that's like, that wasn't a shoe that I was going for. Or that I don't have a yellow or black shoe. That's not really, like, I don't really wear those colors together a lot. or I don't know if I would rock it. So I'm probably actually going to use that as trade bait to get my seafoam ones at the sneaker shop that we go to. But yeah, those seafoam ones, I'm still in love with those. Like if it's a shoe, I can't stop thinking about it weeks after it dropped. I'm like, okay, you really want it. So those and the Joe Fresh goods, and I mean, everything else, I know Antonio probably wants it. And I'm also like that too. I feel like unless I'm really feeling it and we both have to have it, if it's something he wants and I'm not really feeling, like, I just feel good that we have it in this house. Like, like if you want the cool grays, like, and I just feel good that we have one in the house. Like, we don't need to have two. So I'm also like that with some pairs. But yeah, seafoam ones and the Joe Fresh goods. And I feel like I'll be all right because I got my 14s and that's what I love the most. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have the Joe Fresh goods? Any of the Converse?
I didn't get the Converse because I'm just, again, my feet and Converse, they not the best of friends. I have like a couple of Converse. I had the off-white Converses, and they recently did like a redrop in the sneakers app. I think the same day those royal blue dunks dropped.
Yeah, I took an L.
You took a L, yeah. So yeah, I'm not a big, my feet are not friendly. I got chunky feet and they're not friendly with Converses. So no, but I hope I can hit on these this week because I want them that bad. And again, to your point about resale, that's not a pair I'm about to pay resale for. Like, I either hit it or, all right, stop thinking about it because you're not about to do that.
All right, now with Converse, if you give Converse another chance, just make sure you get a Chuck. Get a Chuck 70, not a regular Chuck. Get a Chuck 70.
Okay, noted. No, that's just like with Vans, because I know people try to, kind of compare them like how they feel on foot. But like with Vans, I always buy the Comfy Cush or Comfy Cush Air. Yeah, and those are perfect for me. So yeah, I had to get Chuck 70 and tried it out.
Okay. I'll be honest. For me this year, the only three that come to mind for the rest of this year, I need the Mystic Teal Air Max 96 too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. See, you reminded me of pairs.
Yeah. I have to get another pair of white and midnight 6s because my pair from 2000s is in pieces in my garage.
Oh, man.
Because I love that shoe. And I'd like to have a pair of cool gray 11s because I didn't get the last retro. I have the 2001 pair in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So, those are the only shoes I can think of that I know that are coming out that are new releases. I mean, I'm always reach backs. I mean, I've got probably 4 pairs of shoes coming tomorrow.
Yeah, I got 2.
So,
we both hit on those the Moabs, the twine colored pair. And that was a pair I really, really wanted. Tone, fell in love with them kind of like closer to release, but we randomly both hit because I don't know what happened, but they like reopened on the sneakers app. And so and even still, if you still want them, I've seen them on a couple of sites today that still just have where you could go cop. But we have a couple of trips coming up where some hiking will be involved and zip line and stuff. So we was like, you know what? These would kind of be a dope pair to actually test for what they're worth and not just throwing them on, walking around the city. So we actually gonna have those to be able to see what they do. The ACG, yeah.
All right. Well, before we close it off, do you have any questions or any more questions for me?
Let's see. I of course want to end it with a question. Yeah. So let's go with this one. If you I don't know, like I feel like I get this a lot in my DMs and it's kind of a hard question for me to answer, and you probably get it too, but if there is someone who, is just kind of entering into this sneaker space, obviously, social media, Instagram particularly has changed it a lot, over the last year. That's why we're sitting here today, right? Like so many live platforms have popped up and things for us to communicate. But if there's someone who is kind of new into the game, like they're new, they're fresh, they wasn't shooting in the gym like we talked about, how would you say is the best way for them to sort of get integrated into the sneaker world?
Decide and figure out what you like and just kind of go from from there, you know, because to me, there are sneakers for everybody. You know, you got
Yeah.
people who like video games, you got sneakers for really anything now. So depending on what you're already into, I would just try to incorporate sneakers with that, and just try to, you know, move forward with it. And you know, it's cliche, but you know, don't get caught up in the hype. Buy what you like is
Yeah.
on day, you know. But I would just say that, and don't let cool people like us tell you what you should have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that.
Get what you know, get what you really like. You know, decide yourself what you're gonna, you know, be in this space.
Yeah, I agree. That's point for real. I think too, if I had to like, just because you know the group has been so active tonight in the comments, and we know a lot of them. I think a lot, like especially if you join later, like what we talked about earlier was just like this type of opportunity tonight, like to speak to Shorty, like this makes me feel better and make me feel like, you know, more a part of the community and more a part of something I love than, you know, being on a focus group with a big brand or speaking to, you know, corporate execs like Nike about, you know, new releases. Like this feels more, you know, it means more. It feels like more to me. And so I think the more that yeah, it's cool to use, you know, hashtag sneakers kick check. It's cool to tag brands. It's cool to want to be seen and be found. But there is so much power in all of us, you know, that's like you actually don't even, if we all just continue to support each other and support each other as much as we be on the sneakers app and spend the time buying stuff and scrolling through StockX and all of that. Imagine if you poured that much time and resources into everybody else's brand that you know, everybody else's platform that you know. We don't need the other brands, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to say thank you for the platform. It's a lot of times we see stuff and like, oh, well, so-and-so is already doing that, or she already does lives with people, or she already has a platform, or he already does that. I can't do it. And we all heard this before. You go into a grocery store, go to the bread aisle. How many freaking brands of bread is there? It's a shit ton of bread brands. So like, don't let like saturation and like, oh, somebody's already doing it, you know, stop you from doing it. So I just want to thank you for continuing the platform, for creating it. Because the more I just feel like that we pour into each other, the other brands, they'll eventually keep up and get the picture. But they're in the archaic space. What we're doing, this particular platform, is like what is actually future proof. So I just want to thank you. And I think we just got to keep that in mind.
Now, I really appreciate you as well. Thank you for being on the show. You know, everybody, you know, that's been on the show, you know, pretty much has been great. You know, this is definitely my favorite ones though, this episode here, you know, getting to talk to you. I guess one last question I have for you is who would you like to see on this show next?
Ooh, I need to do a run. Have you linked up with Key from Chic and Sneaks?
I don't think so.
You need to link up with her. Funny as all get out, but that's my girl. She is a storyteller, down to it, down to earth. She's in the comments, but yeah, Key would be a great feature on here.
Okay, it's Chic and Sneaks.
Yep.
Okay. Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I'm definitely gonna be, you know, in contact with you. You know, just checking on y'all, seeing how y'all are. Thank you.
Anytime. And I see everybody tagging her now, and I know she in here. Yep, she done posted some emojis, so yeah, we should definitely feature Key.
Okay, for sure. All right. Well, you got anything else to add before we go?
Nothing else, but I hope everybody had a good Labor Day and get ready for another week.
Ready for another week? All right. Well, on behalf of this wonderful young lady I just got to interview, I'm going to go ahead and close it off now. You know, thanks everybody. And we will see y'all soon.
Thank y'all. Bye.
Peace.